participated in the United Nations Climate Change Conference, which took place around Glasgow, commonly referred to as the COPs, brought in together the world leaders to act together regarding the limited temperature risks and climate change, according to the reports from the Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change. Now, COVID-19 as well and corruption have affected the progress. Listen and take a look and a watch on how this has been affected. We do return to just hint on it briefly.
In 2021, Uganda participated at the United Nations Climate Change Conference, which took place from Monday 31st October to Saturday 13th November 2022 at the Scottish Events Centre in Glasgow, Scotland. Honourable Beatrice Anywa, Minister of State for Water and Environment, says that they are working and fast-tracking down those that are destroying the environment, and good enough that the President is also supportive.
I think what is now more propelling to me is that we have more of the zeal to do nature-based solutions here. We have already the law which is already in place. We have already mainstreamed the environmental conservation in the parish development model, and that is for us key. That is, it's now going to go at the parish level. Unlike when we sit here and then we discuss the thing, we go to COPs, to conferences, and we come back. Now, whatever is done, we want to propel it up to the parish level, including the interventions that we want to undertake, like tree planting, like restoration. As a ministry, we are already massively doing that. We have already had in place an agreement already to have environmental courts of law that will help us fast track and deal with offenders. We have already had the biggest political will. The President, whoever he has been addressing, including the Women's Day, including the parish development model launch, he's talking about conserving the environment. That is something different. Now, three, I think in my view, Ugandans are becoming more conscious about the effect of climate change because it has lived, it is with us. The drought is with us, the floods are with us, the suffering has no boundary, you know? And for me, I think we are better armed, we are better prepared to do that.
She says that the government is already providing an alternative source of livelihood so as to avoid cases of Ugandans carrying out activities that destroy the environment.
And as a government, when we are now turning our people to alternative sources of livelihood, because the story of that poverty, that's why I have to go and burn charcoal, buy the cut trees, cultivate in the wetland. As a government, we are giving alternative sources of livelihood. The energy, alternative source of energy, is already in the program with our oil coming on. You are aware about that, and how cheap we can have alternative source of energy. We have already energy mix, which is going to, as a policy matter, going to operate. We are already giving an alternative source of livelihood for those who have been cultivating in the wetlands. Instead of rice, go for fish farming. And we are going to train you, and we are going to make a market for you.
Honorable Lawrence Biika Songa, the Chairman Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change, revealed that COVID-19 almost made it impossible to address climate change, but to make it worse, the budget from the Ministry of Finances furthermore made it difficult.
COVID-19 almost swallowed efforts to address climate change, not only in Uganda, but globally. For the case of Uganda, COVID-19 and corruption in some sectors have affected our budget, even to address climate change. So people are asking, when is the time to really address this challenge facing us? To me, I think I want to say the time is now. If you have not started, start now. If you started earlier, continue. I think that is very important. You're aware we want to reduce greenhouse gases, which is causing climate change in the country, but at the same time we have to balance the economy. At the same time, we are looking at our petroleum. So in our action, we need a balance as we look for the profits, as we look for the prosperity, as we have to look at the people, the planet, and peace.
Songa also urged the stakeholders who are involved in activities to address climate change to work with the Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change.
I call upon all the civil society, the government, MDAs, academia, and private sector to work closely in a coordinated way. Fortunately for us as the committee in Parliament, we are ready to work with all of you. So if you are doing anything to address climate change in the country, work with us so that we can talk about you, not only on the floor of Parliament, but also in the different dialogues which we have.
And he further revealed that out of 45 trillion, only 18 trillion is available, and that is going to all sectors, which will make it difficult to address the issue of climate change.
Like I say, COVID and corruption has affected our budget. This year we have only 45 trillion in our budget. Out of 45, only 18 is available. The rest is going to pay our loans and recurring. Out of 18, 6 is going for defense and security. We remain with 12. Out of 12, 1 is going for parish development model. We remain with 11 for all sectors of the economy. That means we have to really identify priority sectors that we can address with our small money. And we are struggling with this in the budget committee. For example, National Forest Authority, out of their budget, they are only going to get 18.8 billion. The funding gap for NFA is 19.5 billion. NEMA is only getting 16.5 for salaries and running office. So what activity will they be doing? They have a funding gap of 123.7 billion. That is NEMA. And then we have the Uganda National Meteorological Authority getting only 8.1 billion and a funding gap of 39.8. We have the National Water and Sewage getting only 76.5 billion, the funding gap of 125.8 billion. Ministry of Water and Environment in general is having a funding gap of 178, and they are only going to provide 152. So when you look at Ministry of Water and all the agencies, we are only in this budget squeezing 271.9 billion, and the funding gap is 502.8 billion.
Matters addressing climate change are still a concern even on the global scene. All countries are pushing for their agenda in line with the Paris Agreement temperature goal. Uganda, like many other developing countries, are still finding it difficult to address the issue due to limited funding. On a good note though, the well-established economies promised to collect a sum of $100 billion that will go to developing countries to address climate change.